With the major success to the Master Duality Dungeon and its loot system, I thought I want to talk about Master Lost Sectors today. Basically because they're the same level of content in the game. Now, obviously, a Master Dungeon is harder than a Master Lost Sector in terms of length and stuff like that. But, given that they're both 1590, at the very least, I thought this is worthy of discussion. So for those that don't know, Master Duality allows you to farm the dungeon as much as you want, as long as you want, for as much armor as you want. Every encounter will give you a drop, and I'm going to be talking about the armor specifically, not the weapons. So for armor in Master Duality, if you didn't know, the bare minimum armor drops is in the 60s. You cannot get 50 static armor in dungeon on Master. That by itself is great. On top of that, you get an armor piece with at least one stat that will have plus 20 or more on it. And it goes as high as 68 base overall and 30 in 2 stats. So that's just giving you a general idea of the armor you can get in Duality. Plus 20 at least one stat, and cannot be rolled in the 50s in base, which old dungeons did, and it was super annoying. Now, the Master Dungeon is 1590. The Master Lost Sector is also 1590. Now let's talk about the difference between the Legend Lost Sector and the Master Lost Sector. So, first off, let me just quickly show you. I've done a few Lost Sectors in my day. Just about, 9,000. Not that many, just 9,000. And the general numbers for these Lost Sectors, and this has been done by other people, not me, by the way, just throwing it out there, but also from my experience. The general drop rate for these is 25% on Legend and 35% on Master. Now, Legend, I think, can just stay the same. Legend's supposed to be the one that's, like, for everyone. It's not, I'm going to use a sarcastic term here, but gate-kept from people. It has champions in it. It's achievable to most people in terms of light level. You can be a solo player and still do the Legend Lost Sector. You could be a team player, whatever you want to do, and you can still get exotics. It's fine. That's fine. Master, on the other hand, is 1590. You would need to actively play the game, do your pinnacles, do your artifact, do this, that, and then want to farm the 1590 Lost Sector on Master, because you think, and logically, I would agree, that the drop rate should be much better, and it should reward you for efficiency. Now, the drop rate is better, barely, but one, it's not enough, and two, there is no efficiency about it. What do I mean by efficiency? Well, for example, let's say you do a Master Lost Sector, and the time limit normally is, I think, like 15 minutes until you lose your reses or whatever. I don't know. I don't take 15 minutes. I'm not trying to flex. I just don't do 15-minute runs. But what I'm thinking, in terms of a good fix, would be if you finish a Master Lost Sector within a certain threshold, you get your chance increased at getting an exotic. So we already have this in the game, kind of, with the new exotic sword for a Heart Shadow. And if you complete certain triumphs, blah, 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 you get an increased chance for the drop rate of the new sword exotic in Duality, right? So we know it's possible to increase chances based on something triggering in the game. So, with this, why not have Master Lost Sectors have an increased drop rate chance depending on certain criteria? For example, A, obviously kill all the champions to get platinum. That's a given. That should just be the standard. And then B, time efficiency. If I can beat a Lost Sector, let's say I do a Moon Lost Sector, the really brutal ones that everyone hates. Let's say I finish it in under 5 minutes. Would it be crazy to say I should get an increased drop rate of like 50-50 odds or something like that? You know what I mean? Something to give me the motivation to do Master over Legend. Something that's worth it. On top of that, the thing I mentioned about armor not dropping in the 50s, I think this should be the same thing. Exotics should never drop in the 50s outside of buying them from Xur. Never. It is ridiculous that you can get like a 58 stat exotic from a Master Lost Sector. So bare minimum, I think they should be dropping in the 60s. I think the stats on the exotic should at least have one stat. Let's say something like plus 16 on at least one stat. And dropping in the 60s on Master. Because again, I think putting in the effort, putting in the efficiency, into a Master Law sector, if you meet the criterias, of course, I think is very reasonable. Having it drop only in the 60s and having it drop at least plus 16 in a stat, if you finish, you know, within 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes, whatever you want to categorize them as individually, I think is way more than fair for putting the effort in. Because again, 1590, you know, you don't start the game and bam, you're 1590. You gotta grind for that. You gotta. Most people will go into this under-leveled, so that's another factor. If you go in and under-leveled and you still finish in under 5 minutes, you should be rewarded, plain and simple, or at least have a high chance of being rewarded. One more thing I'll mention, and I'm not really a fan of this tactic, but I thought I'd mention it anyway, just for having some sort of solution for this kind of thing. You could have a knockout system added in. Let's say you do 5 Master Law sectors and you went without a drop. Your 6th completion will have an exotic if you do it on Master, kind of like a streak kind of thing. You know, if you do 5 in a row, get nothing. Your 6th one, you get a drop. Something along those lines. Again, just trying to maximize having the motivation to do Master Law sectors if you put in the effort to get it done at a very efficient manner. Again, get Platinum, get under 5 minutes, whatever that threshold might be. I think that's reasonable. Like I said, I don't want exotics to just be handed out left and right to people, but I think leaving Legend the way it is and then changing Master to have these kind of requirements, you know, you could still complete Master at a slow pace, you know, your 10-minute runs, whatever it may be, and then still have the quote-unquote normal drop rate for an exotic. And if you know, if you get better and you put in a better effort, you get faster times, you kill everything very quickly, then it starts to give you a higher reward chance for your efforts. I mean, God forbid we get rewarded for putting in better efforts, right? So that's my my gripe with Master Law sectors, my suggestions, theory crafting, how to fix them for you know, just replayability, have more motivations for it, and that's it. Let me know what you think. Maybe you have different ideas than me. Maybe I don't know. I'm certain some people would disagree. Probably you can never please everybody, but let me know what you think, and you know, leave it in the comments below. Also, stream daily on Twitch, twitch.tv/SneakyBeaver. Like, share, subscribe, all that nonsense. It's free. I swear it's free. No Jeff Bezos here. No, sir. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.